The story begins with our protagonist feeling unattractive and uncool compared to her peers. She mentions being bullied for her appearance but continues walking through the school hallway, where she trips. A boy helps her up and notices she likes the band Heavy Metal City. Later, she asks the boy to join her at one of their concerts, but he rejects the offer. Soon after, she's bullied by a girl named Semi and her friend, who are upset that she asked Semi's boyfriend out. They humiliate her by drawing on her face with lip gloss and posting her picture online. Eventually, she accidentally harms Semi and gets sent to the counselor's office. The counselor informs her she'll no longer attend the same school as her bully and recommends an art school, but she initially refuses. At home, she contemplates the counselor's suggestion and feels like giving up. Then she receives a mysterious text with a makeup tutorial video from a woman named Selena, who encourages viewers to be beautiful. Inspired by the tutorial, she applies makeup determined to turn her life around. At her new school, two girls, Sharon and Swa, introduce themselves. She tells the audience that her new appearance helped her gain popularity over winter break. However, the mention of dumplings triggers a memory of her past bullying, but she's snapped out of it by An and Kang. At a local restaurant, two boys discuss her, telling a boy named Si-jun that she's from his school, though he doesn't recognize her or care. Meanwhile, at home she washes off her makeup and bumps into her brother, who makes rude comments about her looks and takes a photo of her. Frustrated, she rants about how all her earnings are being spent on food for her brother. Later, she visits a bookstore and grabs a horror comic, only to encounter a boy named Sugo Lee. She finds him handsome and they argue over who gets the book first. She challenges him to prove he's a real fan, and they engage in a trivia battle, which she loses. The next day at school, she sees Suho again and hides, while Sharon and Swa share details about him, noting that despite his handsome looks, he has a bad personality. In class, she wonders if Suho recognized her, and her friends tell her she's been nominated for the Subum High Goddess competition. They explain the prestige it holds, with Sujin having won for years. Her friends think she has a chance to dethrone Sujin, but she's more interested in the performance contest. Later, she reads a comic about a character similar to her, feeling a connection. At the bookstore again, she bumps into Suho, but avoids a confrontation. Suho later finds something she dropped and picks it up. She joins Swa, Jimin, and Suho at a restaurant, surprised to see Suho there. Swa asks if they'd met before, and though she panics, she denies it. Suho dismisses Swa's inquiry, not wanting to waste time. Later, she worries about revealing the truth. At the bus stop, Suho approaches her wearing her missing earbud and recognizes the Heavy Metal City song she's playing. He asks if she's the same girl from the bookstore, leaving her anxious about being discovered. But she denies it, claiming the earbud he's showing isn't hers. However, Suho points out that she's listening to the same Heavy Metal City song, and her flustered responses only confirm his suspicion. Defeated, Jujeon heads home worried about what will happen if her true appearance is revealed. Determined to keep her secret safe, she visits the bookstore and begs Suho to keep her bare-faced identity hidden. She promises to do anything in exchange, and Suho agrees. Later, she delivers his comic books as part of their deal. The next day, Jujeon becomes Suho's errand girl, constantly delivering things to him while he teases her about her tasks. As she walks through the school hallway, she overhears gossip about her and Suho's growing connection. She then meets with Charon and Swa, who notice her closeness to Suho. Juhyun devises a plan, thinking that if she tells the girl Suho is bothering her, they'll help convince him to stop. However, before she can share her complaints, Sharon and Swa mention that many wouldn't mind being bullied by Suho. They also discuss how Suho used to be a different person before his trip to Korea changed him. Before they can leave, Jujeon gets a text from Suho, who asks her to come to the acting department. There he hands her his phone and asks her to film him for an acting assignment. While watching him perform, she notices that he seems kinder when he's acting. Later, Suho and Jujeon go to the theater because she ruined his mood. She suggests they watch a horror movie together. As they enter, Sujin spots Suho from afar. Jujeon starts reflecting on her recent encounters with Suho and realizes she's growing fond of him. Soon after, her brother Jeon demands she buy him a hamburger, so she goes to Burger Cat. At the restaurant, Semi and her friend show up and humiliate her in front of everyone. She leaves upset by their remarks. Feeling hurt, she compares how both Semi's boyfriend and Suho treated her. Suho calls her, but she lashes out, accusing him of treating her like her bullies. After ending the call, she realizes she left her wallet at Burger Cat. Sejun and his friends find her wallet. When she arrives to retrieve it, Sejun hands it over. The next day, Swa and Sharon inform Jujeon that she received the most likes in the goddess competition. Then they spot Suho and Sejun about to fight. Both boys notice Ju-hyun, and she grows anxious knowing they've both seen her without makeup. Suho notices Ju-hyun in the crowd. He pulls Ju-hyun aside and asks her if she knows Seo-jun. Ju-hyun says she doesn't know Seo-jun, and Suho gives Ju-hyun her earbuds. Seo-jun returns to class. One of Seo-jun's friends informs him that Ju-hyun is a Sebum goddess candidate. Then we cut away to Ju-hyun in class. Ju-hyun's relieved Seo-jun hasn't discovered her true identity yet. Then Ju-hyun's teacher asks her to come to the front of the class and select a sheet of paper from a box. This is a part of her current portrait assignment. Ju-hyun picks up a slip of paper and learns her portrait assignment will be on Seo-jun. She must draw Seo-jun. If he refuses, she'll fail her assignment. Eventually, Ju-hyun meets with Seo-jun. Ju-hyun informs Seo-jun about her portrait assignment. Seo-jun says he'll think about it if Suho asks him to consider helping Ju-hyun out with it. Seo-jun departs and Ju-hyun is annoyed by Seo-jun's response. Then we see Suho entering a classroom. Seo-jun wanders towards Suho, asking him if he wants to practice acting with her. Suho refuses and leaves the classroom. Meanwhile, Ju-hyun, Sharon, and Swa meet Go-woon. Go-woon is a student from the music department. Swa, Sharon, and Ju-hyun wonder why Go-woon looks horrible. Go-woon says she has an upcoming performance. She knows she's a talented singer, but her looks are atrocious. Ju-hyun understands and offers to help Go-woon with her makeup. Then Ju-hyun and the others stroll around a basketball court. Seo-jun's ball clashes with one of Ju-hyun's beverages, causing it to ruin her facial appearance. Swa yells at Seo-jun for not monitoring the court. Then Suho arrives, cleans things up, and tells Ju-hyun to leave and wash up. Seo-jun confronts Suho about his actions, and Suho retaliates, telling Seo-jun that he should apologize to Ju-hyun. After washing up, Ju-hyun returns home. Ju-hyun researches Suho's actions to see what it all means. Several anonymous folks tell Ju-hyun it's possible Suho likes Ju-hyun. Ju-hyun visits Han River to return Suho's cardigan. There, Ju-hyun explains why she was at Han River during the previous chapter's early flashback segment. Ju-hyun tells Suho she was bullied a lot in the past for her appearance. At the same time, Ju-hyun says she didn't mind the bullying and knows difficult times will come and go. Suho tells Ju-hyun he looks the same regardless of whether she has makeup on. He also understands why Ju-hyun wants to keep things a secret. He compares her charade to his on and off acting phase. Ju-hyun visits Go-woon and does her makeup. Then Go-woon performs on stage, and Ju-hyun observes her from the crowd with tears in her eyes. Ju-hyun greets Go-woon after the performance and learns Go-woon's related to Seo-jun. Ju-hyun leaves and returns home to ponder everything. Then Seo-jun messages Ju-hyun and tells her he followed her on social media. Ju-hyun follows Seo-jun back and Go-woon invites her to her home for dinner. Ju-hyun arrives at Go-woon's place. Seo-jun exits the bathroom shirtless. Seo-jun apologizes. He leaves to grab normal clothes and returns to the dinner table with Go-woon and Ju-hyun. After dinner, Seo-jun walks with Ju-hyun somewhere. Seo-jun tells Ju-hyun he'll help her with her portrait assignment. Ju-hyun thanks Seo-jun. Some time passes. Ju-hyun meets Seo-jun at Cafe Miu. The two discuss the upcoming Seven Goddess competition. Seo-jun wants to get closer to Ju-hyun, but knows the competition will make it difficult for them to get along. Regardless, Seo-jun says she'd like her and Ju-hyun to get closer to each other. Then Ju-hyun heads to school and learns about an upcoming mission for the Sebum Goddess competition. Many people chat about the idea of Ju-hyun and Seo-jun competing against each other, and Ju-hyun looks nervous. Ju-hyun overhears some girls discussing the mission they received on their phones for the Seven Goddess competition. She feels conflicted and decides to inform the art department that she wants to quit. Upon arriving at the art department classroom, she sees Swa hyping everyone up for the competition. Swa insists that supporting Ju-hyun will help change people's perception of the art department. Ju-hyun heads to the restroom, still wanting to tell Swa and Sharon she plans to drop out. She reflects on the situation, believing that Seo-jun will win because of her strong presence, giving her an excuse to quit without disappointing anyone. Meanwhile, Suho and Seo-jun have a conversation. Seo-jun asks him to film her dance video for the competition, but he tells her to find someone else. Seo-jun heads to the restroom, where she runs into Ju-hyun. She admits that she doesn't want to let the art department down. Seo-jun mentions her close relationship with Suho and offers to ask him to help Ju-hyun with her dance video. She leaves, wishing Ju-hyun good luck. Back home, Ju-hyun watches the dance videos of the other contestants. Sharon and Swa send her a provocative dance suggestion for the competition. She practices the dance, but Ju-hyun enters her room, leaving her embarrassed after asking for his opinion. Later, at school, Suho asks Ju-hyun to meet him at Han River after class to help him practice his acting. She hesitates, wanting to practice her dance, but he insists. Shortly after, Sejun shows up, reminding her that she needs to draw him for her previous assignment. He demands she finish after school since he's busy with work. Frustrated by the boy's requests, she texts Suho, saying she can't meet him at the river. Ju-hyun heads to the music department to draw Sejun. During their time together, they discuss Suho, and she expresses her belief that Sujin would be a better match for him than herself. Sejun laughs when she mentions her struggles with the dance competition. After completing his portrait, Sejun drives her home, warning her not to get close to Suho and Sujin. At school the next day, Ju-hyun bumps into Suho, who reminds her that he's heading to Han River. Later, the two meet there. She offers to help him practice acting, but he reveals he's already submitted his video and didn't ask her to come. Suho then inquires about the dance mission, and she shows him the provocative dance Swa suggested, claiming she'll perfect it with more practice. Later, Sujin calls Ju-hyun, asking if she would go on a blind date with a guy named Hyunwoo-jeon. The next day, Ju-hyun informs Swa and Sharon about the date, and they encourage her to go. Ju-hyun meets Hyunwoo at their arranged location, and the two take a walk together. Hyunwoo praises her and asks her to be his girlfriend, to which she agrees. Reflecting on recent events, Ju-hyun feels conflicted. Meanwhile, Suho meets Swa at a cafe, where she informs him about Ju-hyun's new relationship. Ju-hyun eventually joins them, and Suho hesitates to speak with her. Later, she meets Hyunwoo again, and he suggests they go to a hotel. At the hotel, Sejun spots them. Inside the room, Hyunwoo asks Ju-hyun to put on a swimsuit before leaving. Confused, she wonders what's happening. Outside, Hyunwoo makes a call, telling someone that everything is going according to plan. Sejun intervenes, punching Hyunwoo and revealing that he works part-time at the hotel. He then threatens to call the police. Suho is looking through someone's profile on his phone. He calls a friend and asks if they know who Hyunwoo is. His friend warns him that Hyunwoo is bad news and advises him to stay away. Swa then arrives and informs him that Ju-hyun is on a hotel date with her boyfriend. We cut to Sejun performing some hotel cleanup duties, which take place before he confronts Hyunwoo in the closing events of episode 4. Sejun overhears Hyunwoo's conversation and follows him to the elevator. Shortly after, Suho calls Sejun. Suho arrives, and they discuss the situation. Meanwhile, Ju-hyun reflects on her situation with Hyunwoo. She's concerned about what will happen if Hyunwoo discovers her ugly side. Before she puts on her waterproof makeup, Suho and Sejun knock on her door. They enter the room planning to reveal the truth about Hyunwoo to her. As they search the room, Suho finds a camera hidden by Hyunwoo in one of the lamps. Ju-hyun is confused, wondering what's going on. Then the scene from last week's chapter replays, with Sejun knocking Hyunwoo out and calling the police. Hyunwoo tries to argue it's not entirely his fault, claiming Sujin put him up to it. Sejun and Suho chase Hyunwoo down. During the chase, Suho gets hit by a car. We then cut to Sejun at Gangnam Hospital, speaking with the hospital staff. Afterward, Sejun and Ju-hyun visit Suho in his hospital room. Sejun suggests Ju-hyun wait outside. Ju-hyun calls Sujin and asks if they can meet at a cafe. The two meet at the cafe, and Ju-hyun asks if Hyunwoo was right about Sujin orchestrating the romantic scheme. Sujin toys with her and Ju-hyun struggles to believe Sujin would do this. Ju-hyun accuses Sujin of being the reason Suho got hurt. Sujin argues otherwise and leaves. Meanwhile, Sejun stays by Suho's side at the hospital. We then flash back to a time when Suho protected their classmate Seon from bullies. Sejun arrives and helps Suho. Seon tries to persuade Sejun to become a trainee with him, but Sejun brushes him off despite receiving compliments on his talents. Later, Suho suggests the three meet somewhere to talk, but they discover that Seon has been beaten up by bullies again. Seon, however, remains unfazed, saying that tough times come and go. After hearing more from Seon, Sejun says he'll consider trying the trainee audition. Sometime later, the trio is seen lying on the ground, with Sejun certain they'll all be in the same group. However, it's revealed that Seon will debut first. Seon laughs and tells the boys they should have tried harder. We then cut to Suho resting at the library. When he wakes up, he learns that Seon has committed suicide and left a note for his friends and family. Later, Sejun confronts Suho about Seon's suicide, blaming him for everything. Returning to the present, Ju-hyun hopes that Suho will recover. Then she receives a phone call from Swa, who tells her that someone has spread a bad rumor about her on the school bulletin board. Ju-hyun reads the comments being shared and reflects on all the kindness she's shown others. She runs to a nearby railing, thinking over everything she's been through. She throws Hyunwoo's camera into the river and vows not to run away. Ju-kyung applies makeup and goes to school to confront Soo-jin. Soo-jin refuses to discuss the situation, so Ju-kyung grabs Soo-jin's mirror, tells her she won't back down, and throws the mirror before leaving. Ju-kyung tells Soo-jin that Suho is woken up in the hospital. She wants to visit Suho, but Soo-jin suggests they don't need to. We then cut to Suho at the hospital. Ju-kyung arrives, and he tells her not to feel guilty about his injury. Soo-jin spots them together and quietly leaves. Ju-kyung feeds Suho since his arm is broken. She thanks him for helping her, and he questions if she should be there right now. He wonders why she isn't practicing for the dance mission. Ju-kyung raises her voice, admitting that she doesn't like being bullied. Despite everything, she vows to win the goddess competition. Suho tells her to pick up her phone if an unknown number calls. Ji-jeong, Sharon, and Swa go somewhere to help her practice her dance moves. Ju-kyung struggles with the choreography. A random boy calls her. The man explains that Suho mentioned her poor dancing skills and offers to help her. Ju-kyung visits his studio, where he explains the process. She feels nervous about it all. Meanwhile, Soo-jin looks at a picture of Ju-kyung, unsure why she cares so much for Suho. Some time passes and she bumps into Soo-jin, showing off her improved dance skills. Soo-jin brings up Suho, and Ju-kyung tells him to visit if he's so worried. Before leaving, she gives Soo-jin a portrait she painted of him as a gift. Soo-jin doesn't find it very appealing, so Ju-kyung leaves and calls Suho. He tells her that he's being discharged from the hospital, assures her he'll be fine, and hopes things are going well with her dance teacher. Suho refuses to elaborate on his own dancing history and asks her not to come over. Upon leaving the hospital, Suho encounters Soo-jin. They argue about Ju-kyung, with Soo-jin accusing Suho of discarding innocent people. During the argument, both receive a pre-sent message from Cyan's blog. Soo-jin starts to walk away, but Suho stops him to discuss Cyan. He promises he didn't miss Cyan's call on purpose, then brings up his father's scandal involving a 12-year age gap. A flashback shows Suho's father telling him and his sister that the rumors were false. Suho recalls seeing his father with the woman in question and feeling sick to his stomach. He drops his phone and runs off. Cyan tries calling, but Suho can't answer because he's not near his phone. He regrets not picking up. Suho explains he fled to Japan to escape his father but returned to Korea when his father became active in Japan. Soo-jin, uninterested in the explanation, leaves. Ju-kyung watches from afar. Later, she visits the Han River to talk to Suho about his drama with Soo-jin. Suho shares that Soo-jin calls him a sociopath for not crying after Cyan's death. He admits he didn't cry because he feels unworthy of mourning Cyan. Ju-kyung offers advice, and Suho begins to cry. She then receives a text about the dance mission, informing her she must upload her video within 30 minutes or be disqualified. The two go for a stroll in the city, and Ju-kyung asks Suho to help film her dance video. They record it, and Ju-kyung receives praise from viewers. Others are either recording her or writing comments in real time, while Suho blushes as he looks at his phone.